Nike hit about $263 billion in market cap in 2021, and by early December 2025, it's closer to about $93.6 billion. Same swoosh, same shoes, same just do it. So here's the pattern to notice. The product barely changed, but the meaning did. Nike didn't become a $200 billion kind of brand by making better rubber. Nike did it by turning a shoe into a badge that says, I'm the kind of person who wins. And once a brand owns that badge, you don't shop anymore. You defend. Starting now. Back in 1964, it wasn't Nike, it was Blue Ribbon Sports. Phil Knight and Bill Bowerman were basically doing the least glamorous part of sports, selling running shoes out of a car trunk and building a small operation on pure hustle. In 1971, they renamed the company Nike. That same year, the swoosh appeared. That swoosh was never just a logo. It's a whistle hunters use before the chase, a tiny signal that means, pay attention, something fast is about to happen. Then came the IPO on December 2, 1980. That was the moment Nike stopped being a scrappy seller of shoes and became a machine that had to grow. Not make great products, grow. So Nike's real innovation wasn't only cushioning or materials. Nike's innovation was psychological, turning running, an activity most people avoid, into a tribe. If you wear the swoosh, you're not trying to get in shape, you're training. Different identity, different status. That's identity signaling. It means you buy something to show what kind of person you are or want to be. And Nike learned early that people don't buy performance. People buy this story that performance might rub off on them. That's the bait. Now watch the hunt strategy evolve. In the beginning, the prey was runners, niche, obsessive, easy to turn into evangelists. Because runners talk, they compare splits, they compare shoes. That's where social proof is born. Social proof is when your brain assumes the crowd knows something you don't. If the fastest person you know wears Nike, your brain doesn't research, it copies. And once enough people copy, Nike doesn't have to convince you anymore. Nike just has to show you the crowd. That's why Nike odds rarely explain, they display. They show a body moving like a weapon, and they let your brain do the rest. Here's the part most people miss. Nike wasn't hunting for wallets first. Nike was hunting for attention. Because attention is the trail you follow back to the kill. Look at your closet. How many items are there because you needed them? And how many are there because you wanted to feel like a different person the moment you put them on? That question gets uncomfortable. Good. And it sets up the turning point. Because in 1984, Nike signed Michael Jordan. Jordan signed on October 26, 1984. Then in 1985, the Air Jordan 1 released. A shoe became a celebrity you could wear. Nike didn't just put Jordan in an ad. Nike used Jordan as bait. Predators don't chase every animal. They choose the one the herd watches. Nike chose the animal the entire planet would watch. And here's the cynical aside. Nike didn't believe in Jordan because the universe aligned. Nike believed in Jordan because the math on worship is incredible. Worship scales. This is classical conditioning in business clothing. Classical conditioning means your brain learns to feel something from a cue. A dog hears a bell and expects food. A fan sees a swoosh and expects greatness. Nike paired the swoosh with victory so often that the swoosh itself started to feel like victory. That's not inspiration, that's training. Then Nike did something even bigger in 1988. Just do it. That line is psychological theft because it takes courage, your courage, and attaches it to a purchase. You're not buying a shirt, you're buying a moment where you stopped hesitating. That's why it works. And yes, it's cynical, because just do it sounds like a self-help mantra, but it's also a spending trigger with perfect cover. No one wants to admit they got manipulated by a motivational quote. Now Nike had two weapons, the athlete and the slogan. The athlete gave social proof. The slogan gave permission. Together, they created a trap. If you don't buy, you're not just saving money. You're not the kind of person who does it. That's identity pressure. And when identity is on the line, logic gets hunted and eaten first. Here's the open loop. Once Nike owned identity, Nike could survive almost anything. Almost. Because in the 1990s, Nike expanded manufacturing globally and got hammered by public criticism over labor practices in supplier factories. This is where the story turns from pure assent into risk management. When your entire business is built on moral emotion, courage, fairness, equality, any hint of hypocrisy hits harder. This isn't cancel culture. This is cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is the mental pain you feel when two beliefs clash.
I buy Nike because it stands for something. I keep hearing Nike might not stand for that. That clash hurts, and people solve that pain in two ways. They leave, or they defend the brand harder. That second one is the dark magic. The more someone has paid, money, loyalty, identity, the more aggressively they protect the story. Stop and think about your last controversial brand purchase. Did you actually evaluate it? Or did you justify it so you could keep the identity you already bought? Nike adapted, not by becoming a saint overnight, but by learning the modern rule. If you outsource production, you still own the blame. Nike invested in managing supply chain scrutiny and sustainability messaging over time because the brand couldn't afford moral fractures. Here's the cynical aside. Corporations don't grow a conscience. Corporations grow a risk department. Then Nike found the next evolution of the hunt, direct-to-consumer, apps, memberships, scarcity drops. This is where Nike stopped relying only on stores and wholesalers and started building its own controlled hunting grounds. The Sneakers app isn't just a shopping app, it's a casino designed for sneakers. Scarcity is the principle. Limited availability makes things feel more valuable, not because the product is better, but because your brain thinks if it's hard to get, it must be worth getting. That feeling is the trap snapping shut. And the best part, for Nike, is that you blame yourself when you lose, not the system. Quick test. Open any sneaker resale site in your head. What's the first thing you notice? Not comfort, not durability. It's the story. Limited, exclusive, collab, never restocking. That's the scent trail. Now Nike doesn't have to chase you. Nike just has to leave a little scent and let you chase Nike. In 2021, Nike's market cap peaked around $263.8 billion. That's not a shoe number. That's an attention and identity number. Nike still prints real money too. In fiscal 2024, Nike reported about $51.4 billion in revenue. So why isn't the story just straight up forever? Because hunts get harder when the forest changes. After the pandemic-era surge, Nike faced inventory swings, shifting consumer demand, and tougher competition. And in September 2024, Nike announced a CEO change. Elliott Hill would take over in October. That was the board admitting the prey had learned new paths. Not that Nike was dead, but that Nike couldn't rely on the old patterns forever. Here's another cynical truth. Brand love gets talked about like romance, but when Wall Street gets nervous, romance turns into a spreadsheet fast. And yet, one thing stayed constant through every era. Nike never sold certainty. Nike sold a chase. And the chase is addictive because it lets you imagine a better self without doing the hard part yet. That's why Nike marketing is always mid-sprint, never after the finish. Always almost. Predators love almost, because almost keeps you moving. So let's extract the engine that made Nike a $200 billion symbol instead of just another product line. First, social proof. When you're uncertain, you copy the crowd. Nike reduces uncertainty by hiring the loudest proof available: elite athletes, teams, and cultural icons. When the best wear it, you don't ask, is it good? You ask, which one should I get? Second, scarcity. Scarcity spikes desire. Nike uses drops, draws, and exclusivity to turn shopping into pursuit. If you miss, you feel loss, and your brain hates loss more than it loves gain. Third, cognitive dissonance tied to identity. When something is expensive, defending it becomes part of who you are. You don't want to be someone who got played by a logo, so you become someone who appreciates quality or invests in themselves. Same purchase, different story. And the story is the product. Nike became a $200 billion class of brand by doing something brutally simple. It hunted for identity, then built tropes that turned identity into repeat purchases. Once you see that, you don't automatically stop buying Nike. You stop pretending you're only buying fabric and foam. Here's the final cynical aside. The swoosh isn't on your shoe to look nice. It's there so your brain remembers who to credit if you feel powerful for 10 minutes. So here's the hard question. If Nike vanished tomorrow, what would you miss more? The product or the version of yourself it lets you cosplay?
If you want the next case, watch how Adidas hunts the same way, just with different bait.